Welcome to Behind Cleveland, a community-powered digital media platform dedicated to uncovering the heart and soul of Cleveland. Real stories from real people, amplifying voices, places, and spaces. And step outside the city limits with Beyond Cleveland, bringing you stories from around the nation. Tune in to discover and explore as we take you behind. In the quiet pulse of gallery halls, where sculptors speak in silence, I find myself wondering, who makes this happen? What unseen hands shape these spaces where art lives, where young talent finds its footing and community its mirror? To run a place like this takes more than taste. It takes grit, intellect, clarity, but most of all, heart. Grace Chine is that heart. Chine, Executive Director of the Sculpture Center in Cleveland's University Circle District. Chine, part artist, part architect of culture, navigating donors, artists, and everything in between while raising two daughters of her own. Having met her through a mutual arts connection, learning about Chine's daily routine, before dawn each day, she's already texting, emailing, coordinating, mothering, in motion, ready to unlock the doors and illuminate the works within her center.
Hi, I'm Grace Chine. I'm director of the Sculpture Center, and welcome to my office. So I've been here for nearly 6 years. I've been in Cleveland for 20. I grew up in New Jersey, came from New York City, and I guess I can call this my home now. But originally I trained as an artist, and the arts is really my passion. That's really all I know. My family, however, being Chinese, always hoped for something more. Well, the men in my family were scientists, my father, my two brothers, and despite their best efforts, I did not go into science, and I stuck my foot down in the ground, and here I am in the arts. I pivoted after college. I felt it was really hard to be an artist. I studied sculpture, oddly. I had an incredible mentor who was Japanese and another mentor who was not. But despite that, I ended up pursuing a field in arts administration because I knew I always wanted to support artists. And this really has been my career path. I did take a respite for 15 years. When I moved here to Cleveland, I really wanted to give my art making a shot. I know I'm going all over the place, but I started my own jewelry business. Actually, this is my necklace. But I knew I wanted to work with my hands. I love the craft and the materiality of working in silver and gold. And I built up my own business. So it was called Grace Chine Design. And I sold my jewelry through galleries, through juried art shows, and really made it into something I'm really proud of. But I knew, I saw the market. It was starting to decline in terms of the volume of jewelers that were in the field. And we all started to basically cancel each other out. And knowing that, I decided to pivot and go into what I knew, what I was trained in, which was in running arts organizations. And then oddly, Sculpture Center position opened up. My predecessor, Ann Albano, retired, who really made this into something with a great profile in Cleveland. And it's just so weird because I have a background in sculpture, I have a background in arts administration, and then like all of a sudden, here's Grace at the Sculpture Center. And I love what I'm doing. So before I came to the Sculpture Center, my first job in arts administration was with the Cincinnati Symphony, and I was their annual fund manager, so in the development field. And I was there for 3 years. It was an amazing first job out of school. I learned so much. I had a great boss who taught me a lot. And I met a lot of people in the Cincinnati community. So really similar to Cleveland in terms of the art field, very devoted community of supporters. People love their city. And why am I carrying this? Oh, I need to put it in the other room. So I was there for 3 years, and then my husband is a classical musician. He won a job in the Metropolitan Opera. So I moved to New York, and I was recruited by the Whitney Museum, and I was their membership director. So still in the field of development, but slightly different in terms of working with a much larger audience space. Obviously, it's New York City. It's not quite as personal. Okay, here we go. Not quite as personal, but still in the field of the arts. Visual arts is really my passion, so that really resounded with me.
As our meeting with Chine continued, she guided us through the gallery spaces, offering insight into the current exhibitions and sharing stories behind the artists whose works now fill the Sculpture Center with life and meaning.
If you notice, like, this is an amazing space. You can see the windows on Euclid, and we've got great visibility, good foot traffic. And we're working in a historic building. It's over 120 years old. We're next to Lakeview Cemetery. At one point, this building housed the monument makers who made the monuments for Lakeview. So this, what you see, was their showroom. The craftsmen were in the fabrication studio across the courtyard. But this building has a lot of history to it. And you can see most of it is original floors, the walls, and it's a distinctive space. You won't see anything like this in Cleveland. This is the artist Hannah Bates. She's a Cleveland artist. And she is collecting things that she finds in nature, but particularly around Lake Erie. I'm going to touch it because I'm allowed to. But it's a casting of an object. And what she's doing is, look at that, isn't that incredible? I love the form and the movement and the lines. It's very nature-based, like I enjoy as well. But she's creating this kind of an archaeology as to what you would find here in Cleveland and maybe what you would find 50 years from now. Like if someone saw that, oh, wow, let's see. Where are we? What are we talking about here? So these are like things that she collects, bean pods. I think that's a milkweed top. And again, these are cast in metal. I love this part. Like this to me is so me because I, walk around, I kind of think about things, and that in itself is being an artist. What do you see? How do you respond? And so she's collecting photographs and sort of her inspiration. And like, this is part of her exhibition, this simple photograph, but how it connects to everything she's doing. So that this whole show really resounds with me.
Chine's schedule being nonstop, fresh off co-curating Common Currents, a powerful Cleveland, Buffalo, New York art exchange, She's now turning her focus to the next big moment, an upcoming exhibition at the Sculpture Center featuring renowned artist Edra Soto.
So, Edra Soto's exhibition makes us reflect on home and the concept of home. And if you're, you know, if you're coming from another city or another country, what is it like to establish roots here? And I think about that with myself. And number one, I am Chinese. And what was it like for me growing up in New Jersey with Chinese parents who spoke to me in Chinese, but I would speak back in English? People thought that was really weird that I can understand but not speak. I actually think that's common. Or I should be hypnotized and maybe I'll be able to speak fluently. But a lot of it, I think, is wanting to assimilate and wanting to be like everyone else. In New Jersey, I was one of five Asians in my high school of 600 kids, and wanting to be like other people. So I grappled a lot with my own identity as a Chinese person. And even here in Cleveland, and I think even in the arts field or in the field of, nonprofit management and executives, I will often be the only Chinese person in the room, Asian person even in the room. That's really hard. And, so part of it is I feel I have to represent, um, my background here in Cleveland so that I can serve as a role model to my girls, who are now 12 and 14, that I can be a role model to them. Number one, that I have this full-time job, which is highly demanding and that I devote a lot of myself to. Number two, that I am Chinese. And if you come here, my daughters will come with me to art openings and they'll see I'm, one of a few people that are of Asian descent. But then also in terms of my identity here and what can I show my girls so that they can be the best version of themselves. I am a single mother and I have a hard time with that. It is not easy to have a job like this and to give myself fully and to try to give myself fully to the girls. When I have a long day, I come home, oh my God, I have to make dinner. I want to make sure they're doing their homework, but there isn't another person at the house who's kind of helping to create a balance. Like that is all on me. And I think that's one thing people don't understand is really hard about being a single parent in terms of creating that kind of a balance for the home. So I do the best I can. We all sit down together and have dinner. I did that growing up. I can't imagine it being any other way. And I love to cook dinner. I love to make healthy foods for them. And, so when I'm home, I want to be present with them. I guess I can share with you when I was married, that was really hard for me to witness my husband not being fully present because he was consumed by his job, rightly so. But I want to be more present for my girls. I want to know what's going on with them. And I want to be able to, show them what it's like to be in a loving household. I grew up in I mentioned in a Chinese household where showing love and emotion wasn't really part of, the family. But I want to have that lovingness in my house. And so I work really hard on doing that. And I think that is really important to be there for my girls.